it's me, Lizzie from The Real Deal, and today I am going to do a cooking vlog with you guys. So how many of you out there have ever wanted to make those perfect hard-boiled eggs with those perfect yellow centers? And try to actually keep them in the center. I know I have in the past, but I've become very good at it over the last few years. And I am going to show you today how to get the perfect hard-boiled eggs. So, what we have over this way, and I will show you in a moment, is what my house and Easter coming up. It's basically a 60 egg project. For my house, is a 60 egg project, really. Because we generally die around like 60 Easter eggs, and then I have to figure out what the heck to do with those eggs afterwards. Because, well, I guess that's a whole nother cooking episode later. So what I have back here in my sink is I have a pot of eggs, very gently placed into the pot. What I have done is I have filled the pot about an inch above those eggs with cold water. Do not start with warm water. Start with cold water. And I see that my water level is a little bit low, a little bit lower than what I'd like it. So what I'm going to do, I seen that my water level was a little bit lower than I would like it. So what I did was I'm just going to grab a measuring cup and I'm going to put some water in it. And I'm going to just top these little eggs up just to make sure that they're about an inch above our pot. Now here is a fun fact with doing hard-boiled eggs. Buy your eggs in advance. And from what I've learned about doing hard-boiled eggs is instead of storing them straight up, flip the box when you get it home. Very carefully flip the box. Because when those eggs theoretically sit at the store, if you want those perfect centers, when these eggs sit at the store, the yolk actually sinks to the bottom of the egg. And that's why a lot of people, when they buy eggs and they make hard-boiled eggs, that's why you get that yolk that's like right at the bottom and there's very little white around it. So when you get home with it, before you're going to use it, just very gently flip the box. It'll make those yolks actually go back to center. I really, honestly, haven't really done that too much with this. I went ahead and, basically I went ahead and I flipped it when I brought them home like 2 days ago. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Making hard-boiled eggs is really easy. Basically, you put the eggs in the pot, you fill it with one inch of water above the eggs. Once they start boiling, we are going to shut our pot off and we are going to remove it from the heat because that boiling water is going to be hot enough to cook these eggs through. And we're going to let it sit there for about 12 minutes. In the meantime, I am going to get myself a bowl of ice water because we are going to shock these babies afterwards. Because once that 12 minutes hits, we want to actually stop the cooking process. Because if you don't stop the cooking process, it continues to cook in the center of the egg, and you're going to lose that nice yellow center that we want. Now, obviously, I am going to be dyeing these eggs with the kids tonight. So, what I am going to do is I am not really going to cut into these. I might just de-shell one of them, cut into it so I can show you the yellow center. And then later tonight, I might actually, maybe I might vlog about dyeing Easter eggs because I do have a few other techniques that I'd like to try. If not, then this is basically what I'm doing today. I am making hard-boiled eggs to make for Easter. But here is an actual fun fact about eggs, is that if you want to make sunny-side up eggs, yes, you need to have them fresh. Fresh. If you are doing hard-boiled eggs, though, it is better to buy them in advance and then cook them later because it actually helps to take the shells off a lot easier. I am sorry, guys, but I am also having coffee. It's a little bit before 9 in the morning, and I barely had coffee this morning. I don't know about you guys in your homes, but in my house, coffee is basically a way of life. It's not just a consumption. Okay, so here we are. We have our eggs in the pot. We have about an inch of water on top of them. And as I said, I have 2 children. We do about a little over 60 eggs every year for Easter for coloring. I just want to kind of show you what I was doing here. Okay, so if they're a few days old, the eggshells are gonna come off a lot easier. So you're gonna want to do that. Basically, just buy the eggs in advance. Here is a fun fact about eggs that I've just finally learned. A fresh egg will sink, and an egg that's pretty much kicked the bucket will float. So it's kind of like that concept. Will the egg sink or float? Fun fact for you guys today. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys go for now. I'm going to come back when these babies are boiled and ready to go. And I will show you the whole process of the ice bath and that sort of thing. Okay, so right now I have two separate pots going. Here in my kitchen, I forgot to put my back burner on, but I did turn on my front burner, so at least these guys are cooking. I know a lot of you at home, some of you may not have an Alexa or a Siri or something. If this happens to you, basically you're going to need to set 2 timers. So that the ones that have already started to boil are turned off for 12 minutes, and then the ones that are going to boil are going to get turned off for 12 minutes. This just delayed my time being home today instead of going out and actually going to work. Oh yes, by the way guys, yes, I do have a regular job. This is not my daytime job. Okay, so my first pot here, which is my smaller pot, obviously it's going to take less time to boil than the big pot. They are boiling now. So what I am going to do is I am going to turn this off. I am going to move my eggs to my back burner. I am going to move my big pot forward, and I am going to set my kitchen timer for about 12 minutes for the front, for the ones that are on the rear. These other guys have not even boiled yet, but at least they've been sitting in cold water. They weren't sitting in warm water, because that would have been really bad, you guys. I mean, not to say that they're not going to be edible if they have a little green tinge. It's okay. It's just that, you know, for a showy thing, especially when you're doing like deviled eggs or something else that you're going to be using like a salad for these eggs, you want those nice yellow centers. And it's a presentation thing more than a taste thing. Plus, you're going to actually have a creamier center if you have the yellow centers. If you have the little bit of a tinge of a green, they can become a little on the dry, chalky side. And everybody, like I said, everybody wants those nice yellow centers. So, and this is like the opposite of things. Like, you know, if you want hard-boiled eggs, you're going to want to buy the eggs in advance. If you want to make like a sunny side up egg, you're going to want like basically a fresh egg that just came from the grocery store. You're going to get your best results out of those two opposites of eggs. So when we move these eggs to the ice bowl, and I will show you the ice water bowl, we are going to chill them for about 14 minutes because we really want to make sure we stop that cooking process. If we did not do that, they would continue to cook inside their shells because their shells are really, really hot from the boiling water. So here's my main question of the day. How many of you guys out there have ever dyed Easter eggs with your kids, or just dyed Easter eggs in general, and you actually hide, when you go to hide them the following morning on Easter morning, how many of you have ever hid the eggs and forgot where you hid them? And then the kids get so tired of looking for eggs because, well, you've hid so many eggs, it takes them like 2 hours to look for all the eggs, that they get tired of looking for the eggs, and you forgot how many you hid, and you find one like maybe a week later. How many of you out there are guilty of this? I know I sure as heck am. We've actually done it where we've hid so many eggs that we couldn't remember how many eggs we hid. And I did find one about 2 days later in my daughter's room, and it was kind of blending in with her Barbie dream house. So yeah, we kind of had to pitch that one, but it was kind of like, okay, I know I'm missing eggs, but where the heck are they? And I couldn't find them, and I couldn't remember all the spots. So this year, I think when we hide Easter eggs in our house, I might do a vlog on that. How to hide Easter eggs in a tiny apartment. And still have enough eggs for the kids to hunt. because we do have a smaller apartment. We don't really have a really large apartment, and I kind of actually have to use every available space I have in my apartment to hide Easter eggs. So this year, like, our Easter's a little bit different this year because the kids are actually, my mother, who is their nana, she takes them every 2 weeks to her house, and we weren't really planning on my husband being home for Easter morning, and now he has that morning off. So, they were originally going to go to Nana's in the morning and then come home in the afternoon and do their Easter egg hunt in the afternoon. Actually, this is going to change because basically we're going to do their Easter egg hunt on the morning of Easter after they come back from their grandmother's, which will make it a lot easier for me to pick up their Easter bunnies and do some run around things and kind of just do some basic general, errands and runabout stuff before the big day. And on that big day, I am cooking an Easter ham. I am making the mashed potatoes. I am making carrots, and I will show you my shortcut for carrots because I don't know about you, but the last thing I really want to do on Easter morning is cut carrots and peel them and slice them and all that jazz. So I get a little bit of help from the grocery store with pre-sliced carrots that are fresh. And I am going to be doing another cooking vlog later tonight or tomorrow with how to bake off sweet potatoes successfully in the oven, because I am going to be making sweet potato casserole. The kids love it. The husband loves it. Okay, maybe not the kids so much. My kids are a little bit picky when it comes to potatoes. They don't always eat sweet potatoes, and I don't know why, because they're delicious. But I will show you my tips and tricks for getting set up, the pre-set up for the night before. And honestly, like sweet potato casserole and stuff, the sweet potatoes, you can make them up like even 2 weeks in advance and just pop them things in your freezer, and heck, you're good to go for the big day. All you got to do is pull them out and put some butter and brown sugar and cinnamon in them, and it's like eating candy. With that, we have about 4 minutes left on the eggs in the back. I do have a bowl that I have water in, and I have water, I have ice cubes in my bowl. And I'm going to add some more ice cubes to this. These have been sitting for a little while, so they actually kind of melted a little bit, but that's okay. We still have some really ice cold water, and that's what's going to stop the cooking process on these eggs. Oh, Lizzie. So I am going to actually, because we have like 4 minutes left, I am taking my ice cubes out. Nothing fancy. I do not have an ice machine. I do not make my own ice cubes like that. I have the old-fashioned ice cube tray. Okay, you guys, so back I am at, from doing I am back, and I am going to take my first pot out because my timer just went off, and I'm going to gradually move these guys to the ice bath. I don't want to actually handle them because they are going to be very, very hot. I'm going to be coloring these guys later, so I don't want to like just dump them. I mean, you can see the steam coming off them. They are very, very hot. But we are going to move them to our ice bath. And the minute I put them in there, it basically will shock them to thinking, to literally stop the cooking process. And this is a very, very important step. Do not skip the step of the ice bath. And you're planning on coloring these eggs or making egg salad with them or making some sort of a salad with them, then I would highly suggest that we just leave them in the ice water and let them do their thing for like 14 minutes. This will also make it a lot easier for those shells to come peeling right off. Now, but anyways, literally, I am popping these little babies in a nice bath of ice water. And this is kind of like the same concept of like if you make a leafy greens such as broccoli, spinach, broccoli rabe, any of those vegetables, to keep their green color, this is basically what we would do, is we would cook them and shock them to stop their cooking process, and what that does is it keeps the nice green color within the vegetable itself. Okay, my other eggs are now boiling. I am going to turn this off, and I am going to pop these babies back here for 12 minutes. That is my big pot that finally started boiling, which generally takes forever for it to boil. These other eggs, I'm going to make sure that they are submerged in their nice ice bath. Aren't they lovely? Meanwhile, my other guys are going to sit on the back burner for 12 minutes in their hot water. That is no longer boiling, but it is hot enough to cook these guys. So that's basically what we do. We let these guys sit for 12 minutes. And we let these guys freeze for 14. Okay, so I will be back with you guys later on. Okay, so welcome back. What we are doing right now is these eggs have now been sitting for about 14 minutes in a nice ice bath. I actually had a really cool thing I was going to show you, but I can't really show you right now because I actually, yeah, the egg dropped in. Well. Anyway, so another fun fact about eggs, and then we'll get back to what I'm doing with these eggs, is I am going to show you something. How to tell the difference between a hard-boiled egg and an egg that is not hard-boiled but fresh and still has the whites and the yolk running around. Have you ever made eggs and you put them in a bowl, and well, somebody comes along and says, "Oh, bowl of eggs. Let me just put the eggs out, the other eggs in the same bowl." Well, one bowl had hard-boiled and one bowl didn't. So there's an easy way to tell whether or not the eggs are hard-boiled or the eggs are still fresh with the yolk in them. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna bring this camera down, and I want to show you this. Obviously, we have hard-boiled eggs in the bowl, and I have literally 2 eggs here. What we are going to observe is, does the egg spin? Okay, so we see that one. I'm going to stop it. You see this one. You want a nice hard surface for this, but you see how this one spins a lot more freely than just this egg, which doesn't spin at all? The one that is spinning is going to be your hard-boiled egg. The one that is not spinning is going to be your fresh egg. Okay, so just to make sure that I can show you this and that we know that this is actually going to be our fresh egg, what I am going to do is I'm going to grab just a container just to kind of crack the egg in, which is fine because I'm going to use it for something later on this afternoon. But this should be our fresh egg. So we're going to crack it, and lo and behold, we have our fresh egg, which did not spin very well. And we have our hard-boiled egg, which is perfectly spinning. Fun fact for the day: how to tell the difference between a hard-boiled egg and a fresh egg. Okay. So now that I am back with you guys, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to actually peel the egg. I'm going to peel this egg, and I'm going to cut it open, and we're going to take a look at the inside and see if it's yellow, or does it have a little tinge of green in it. So one egg, what you want to do is just slightly crack your egg on the board. If the shell does have a hard time coming off, it is okay. Don't panic. All you're going to do is you're going to go over to your sink, and you're going to put it under a little bit of water, and those shells are going to come right off. A little bit of water and the shell comes completely off. Okay, so basically these are going to be this is what we're looking for here. You can see how easy that shell is peeling right off, and I am not under the water to peel it off. these shells will come off nice and easy, and that is because we used eggs from like a couple of days ago. See, fresh egg. You ever peel an egg and have like most of the egg come off with the shell? I have. You're always going to want to rinse the egg after you peel it, because when you do that, it gets any little possible eggshell particles. I'm going to take just a paring knife right now because I just want to, like, you know, cut it in half so you guys can see the nice pillowy center. And yeah, look at that egg. Yeah, that's a nice yellow egg with no green around it. And I'm going to bring the camera over here a little bit more so that you guys can see that nice egg. Look at those look at those eggs. Those are beautifully hard-boiled eggs. There is absolutely no green in the center. They are pillowy soft, they're yellow. And because we put our eggs upside down in the refrigerator, we have what? Perfectly centered yolks. And that is what you want every single time you cut into an egg. So this is my tutorial on how to make a hard-boiled egg. Perfect every single time. What you want to do is pop your eggs in the into a pot, fill it with water about 1 inch above those eggs. Let it boil. Once it boils, turn off the heat. Take them off the heat. Pop that lid on those eggs and let them sit for 12 minutes. Set a timer for 12 minutes. And when those are done, grab those eggs and pop them in a bowl. This used to have ice in it. If you don't have ice, improvise. You want to let them sit there for 14 minutes in that ice bath. And if you don't have ice, it's okay. You know, I mean, I used what was readily available. I didn't have ice, so what did I use? I used my kids' popsicles. You know, those little, these type of things. At one point, I had no ice. And what's inside here? Ice liquid. I just popped it into the bowl with the cold water, and it kept it cooled down my eggs. So use whatever you have readily available. It could be a bag of frozen veggies. It could be a couple of ice packs in water. Sometimes you have to think outside the box when you don't have something readily available, and that's what I like to do. I generally will think outside the box if I don't have something readily available. Or more or less because I have a very small kitchen, and sometimes I just can't utilize everything that I have. I don't have that much space to make a ton of ice. And the cooling of these eggs is the crucial part of this. Like, the crucial part of this is the cooling of the eggs. Because if you don't cool these eggs the minute they come out of the water, they're going to continue to cook. And you want to stop that cooking process, and you want to stop it quickly. So what I'm basically just doing now is I'm going to store these guys because we are going to color them later, and that's going to be a whole nother vlogging episode. I'm just storing them in the original container that they came in, which in my case was like, you know, this little plastic guy that has like 30 eggs in it. So I get like about 60 eggs. I made a couple of extras just in case the eggs cracked when I cook them, because sometimes, you know, sometimes if one egg gets into the pot, you know, sometimes you accidentally just put in there a little bit rougher, you don't realize it, the egg cracks and you got like leaking egg white. I mean, the egg is still good. Usually I just take those and make an egg salad out of it. But this time I was really, really lucky to have pretty well only one egg crack on me, which generally never happens. So that's actually pretty cool. I've actually had eggs this time that did not crack on me. So that's why I always make extras. So what I'm going to try to do today, and I know I'm a little bit late with like doing things as far as like Easter is concerned, and that's just because, well, I work so many hours, my husband works so many hours, we all work so many hours in our house that, you know, sometimes we don't always eat dinner even all at the same time. So we try to do as many meals as we can together. Sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. Basically what you want to do with these eggs when they're done, if you're waiting to use them, is to basically just store them in your refrigerator. The eggs are going to be good for about 7 days. So as long as they stay nice and cold and chilled, they're going to be good for about 7 days. And like I said, I'm just storing these guys in the container that they came in. You see that? And that's going to keep them nice and safe. I already have a container in my refrigerator that I was working with earlier. Right now I have about like 63 eggs because I cut one in half. And I'm going to let somebody say hi. With that said, make sure you have a good time with what you're doing, and always remember to keep it real. Say bye. Say bye.